Hello and thank you for joining us for Dignitas versus FlyQuest. Kobe, it's our final game of the day, and what would have been, a fairly meh matchup is actually kind of exciting, given that both the Fortune and two teams have recently been turned around. Well, I guess turned around in one bad way for FlyQuest.
I'm solid, Pastry.
There you go.
Honestly, Dignitas picking up their first win was really exciting to see because we've been talking every single Dignitas game about aphromoo and Johnsun. The bottom part of the map is the only part performing for this team, but they made the switches with Dardoch, Lourlo, and Fenix all coming in from the old Team Liquid style roster that they had lined up. And we saw it on display yesterday there with Dardoch Ignite Graves going up to gank Lourlo's lane over and over, them being a real source of power as well for this team, and it honestly resulting in a Dignitas smash of Immortals. So Dig are definitely on the up and up coming off that victory. FlyQuest, a bit of a reverse situation though. We expected them to win first 100 Thieves, but stumbled under the extra pressure from, the contract swap that 100 Thieves made recently. And then Someday actually just delivered a giant Someday win to 100 Thieves, and FlyQuest trying to rebound from that here. So see what they can do along those lines. First pick does go over to Dignitas, and everybody these days leaving up the Varus. They don't care about the first pick anymore because low mobility has been an attackable weakness.
Certainly has. Just to recap the bans real quick though: Trundle, Orianna, Ezreal, Wukong, Aphelios, and Twisted Fate. Volibear though going to be picked up nice and quickly for either Solo or Santorin, and it is in fact Kalista for MASH. So we've seen lots of different answers into Varus. Kalista kind of just one of the other ones where you can attack the fairly immobile Varus just by all-inning him. Kalista is very good in most 2v2 situations.
All right, quick down the line here. They take away a bunch of scaling after the first big Varus there. Ornn and Azir lock in for a little bit of a slow game here for Dig. Fenix Azir, once again, everybody loves the kills under turret play that made him famous, and he'll get another Azir game. Facing off a lot more early game though from FlyQuest. They got some playmaking ability here with the Volibear and then Kalista. I always love to see Kalista with some sort of CC support, and Sett can be a support, so that's definitely very flexible. Santorin solo or IgNar could play it. IgNar's favorite Rakan is still available as well, and they could do Kalista Rakan if they really wanted to.
Yep, certainly plenty of options, and I think whatever it is for IgNar, it will have some sort of engage on it. Sett with Kalista certainly can fit the bill there.
If he can flank with it, he'll pick it.
Yep, I mean, the nice thing with Kalista is you don't even need to flank sometimes. Just throw him in there, get him to dunk somebody back into the team, and you're good to go as Olaf, going to be banned away from Dardoch. Curious to see if FlyQuest want to attack that Graves as well, which was one of the highlights of Dignitas' win over Immortals, but GP going to be banned away here from Solo, so trying to protect this Ornn that seems like it's going top lane.
Yeah, for sure expect it to be Lourlo Ornn again. They played it yesterday, and he had a very successful game combining with Dardoch. Two Dardoch bans here, though, the Graves and the Olaf. This is one of the things that Dardoch has been pretty outspoken about, the types of champions that he likes to play. They're all very aggressive jungle champions, and he kind of got memed on a little bit for the style of play he's looking for, but there are definitely still other aggressive champions available for jungle. Nidalee just got its first win in the North American LCS yesterday as well, in the hands of contracts. Dardoch's Rengar is available, although I very much doubt in this meta that he'll be able to pull it out. Kassadin counter.
I mean, not that early, I guess, given that you already know the mid lane matchup, but yeah, this is one that I've seen a couple of times to what I would call mixed success, but I do like that this is at least trying to attack Azir a little bit more directly.
Yep, and PowerOfEvil has always been one who's super willing to pick the Kassadin counters when you do see your matchup, and I really do like it into the Azir. Not so bad early. You just take teleport and use your teleport at level 5, as you'll have burned through most of your sustain, and then that should be enough to get you to your level 6 point where you can actually try and pressure, jump over the Azir wall, look for all ends.
And there's Lee Sin for Dardoch, so kind of falling down to the aggressive junglers that are left available. You mentioned Italy, but is going to go for Lee here instead, which certainly fits the bill. And then keeping it nice and simple here, Thresh to pair with the Varus there for aphromoo, who has been pretty good alongside Johnsun on his signature playmakers. Bard was available, but decided to go for the classic instead, as IgNar going to be going for Nautilus. Not a champion I feel like we see him on that often. Usually as something a little more mobile, but still certainly can find the hooks and start the team fights, which is what IgNar has always relied on from the FlyQuest side.
Yeah, I would say even aphromoo been exceptional, especially on the Thresh. He started to really show a lot of old aphromoo plays that he's been able to create with Johnsun, and Thresh Varus has definitely enough kill pressure to try and work with in facing a Kalista Nautilus lane. I expect junglers to be pretty heavily attracted to the bottom side of the map for both teams, but especially for Dignitas, as Lee Sin can be the one to really create those plays for them.
Yep, curious to see if Dardoch can replicate the success he had with the Ignite Graves, with the regular no Ignite Lee Sin. Certainly though, if Dardoch and the rest of the top side for Dignitas can find a bit more consistency, goes a long way in just making this team have a much better second half of the split, because they only picked up their first win yesterday, but they certainly seem to be on the right track after many different changes. So I like what we saw. Hopefully it continues here on the Dig side for Fly. Certainly looking to bounce back here. They've already been upset once. They were firmly the second place team, it felt like, for a while, and now that competition is between other teams, I think, at this point. FlyQuest going to have to win a couple to get themselves back into the conversation for second best team in the LCS.
Well, they have Solo on possibly his favorite champion, spamming so many Sett games. That's definitely a comfort pick for him. PowerOfEvil feels really confident in his Kassadin. I know he's always super willing to pick that counter pick, and should have plenty of sustain here. Took the fleet and should be able to deal with Fenix Azir early push, no problem. That is the big weakness, though. Of course, Azir should be able to get shove on the Kassadin, and should be able to get some early timings.
I'm going to be honest with you, Kobe. Checking through the keystones here, and everything looks normal, with a single exception. I don't know if I've ever seen Conqueror on Azir. I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not saying people haven't done it, but of all of the keystones I have seen on Azir, I don't know if I've ever seen this one. Okay,
so I definitely have seen Conqueror. Lethal Tempo is probably the more common of the yellow keystones for him, but Conqueror is going to be also for kind of extended fights and being able to get that sustain through them as well. So still viable. Dardoch gets his top-oriented path going early. Remember, he did gank for Lourlo repeatedly in the Graves Ornn combo, and they might look to try and punish Solo early. Punishing Solo has not been something that a lot of teams have been able to do. I think Solo's been really good for FlyQuest, especially when he's on the Sett, and it is pretty hard as Ornn, but you know, that might be an unexpected early focus for them if they can, you know, Lourlo can try and set it up with the knockup, and Dardoch can bring the extra damage. It's just so hard because all Solo has to do is hold his W, and if you don't expend that early, then should be able to be just fine in the 1v2. Santorin, meanwhile, early mid.
Yeah, Fenix pushing, and this is a nice wrap here from the Volibear. Going to run in, gets the stun, the flash already out for Fenix, and that's an easy chomp from Santorin. It's first blood for the Volibear.
Flash for flash, a boom. Nice wraparound gank there for Santorin. Gets the Kassadin rolling early. That just takes away all of the early Azir push. Even though Fenix can teleport back out to lane, if you give Kassadin breathing room early, and try and get him to the level 6, it becomes just such an easy life. Here's another look at it. Pretty easy. Santorin just did full blue quadrant, actually. So this is a pretty quick level 3 for Volibear, because it's a bit unexpected that he comes from just bottom side after starting blue, but just does the 3 blue camps to get his level 3, and then right on over towards mid lane for the wraparound behind Fenix.
Yeah, really well played there by Fly to get that first blood. Dig, though, off to the races in bottom lane here. Slight CS lead, but do get that first wave pushed in after we proc the Demolish on the tower. So using that Varus and Thresh pretty effectively here. I think certainly expected to win in any sort of poke or protracted battle. I think all in certainly Ignite Nautilus plus Kalista should feel pretty good, but Varus really doesn't want to let you anywhere near either champion in his lane if it can help it. So doing a nice job of keeping Mash and IgNar at arm's length for now.
All right, Santorin going to get the recall off too, and since he got the first blood on Volibear, it looks like he's going straight into stats, Blue Smite, and just the Ruby Crystal here. Definitely going to be tanky boy, kind of hard to deal with early. Without the flash though, the ganks become a lot more difficult to pull off. I think the goal was accomplished in mid lane, and now it's pretty easy for PowerOfEvil to try and sustain his way up till the level 6, just has the Doran shield, and you continually go in on the minion wave to proc your fleet and get your mana back with your W proc, and he still has his teleport ready, so it looks like they have secured step number 1 of the Kassadin game plan.
Yep, feeling comfy. We'll see what that first bite is whenever he does want to go back. Santorin, though, going to pressure down this bottom side of the map and try and relieve the pressure that has been building on Mash and IgNar. I'll see if Johnsun and Afro play back for long. Afro going to reward it, though, and now they'll be straight back to pushing. So Santorin maybe will have to revisit this lane again.
Solo trying to get the push onto Lourlo as well. With the Cole purchase, he knows it's pretty hard to get your solo kills onto Ornn unless Ornn messes up, and should be able to get a pretty good value out of that Cole. Still gives you the offensive stats, your on hit and your damage, and he doesn't really care about too much of the missing defense since Sett has such good innate sustain.
Built up the Bramble Vest as well for Lourlo, so just going shopping with the passive as the Dragon will be started nice and early here for FlyQuest. aphromoo did spot him, I believe, with that surprise bloom. Yep.
They're going off the recall from Johnsun, so they know that they've got about 20 seconds before Johnsun can get there, and 20 seconds is easy time to kill a Dragon. Should finish it up, no problem. That's the recall for the Berserker Greaves that Johnsun took early. After taking that, Mash now goes for his as well.
Easy enough for Kalista to move in with the rest of the squad to clean up that Dragon, so just good awareness there for FlyQuest in general. Getting themselves that first Dragon. Dardoch, though, kind of out onto the map. Maybe looking for some sort of scuffle here around the crab. Is going to dance his way just barely back into range of the sweeper, but does tag Santorin. But Solo's already down here with Lourlo being pushed in, so despite Ornn having ulti, no real contest here for this crab. Santorin's going to go ahead and grab it.
Yeah, level 6 Kassadin, so there's plenty of mobility on PowerOfEvil to follow up, and Solo constantly has the push. This top lane does so much for the team that crab will be easily picked up by Santorin. Again, second roam here, more vision put down for FlyQuest around the mid lane.
Yeah, you can see Fenix this time. There was a blue question mark king down there, so was aware of the possibility. Does want to be careful right now, because even though he's building a wave, if it gets frozen like it did actually around that first blood, then it could be troublesome for Fenix, who doesn't have his flash up just yet, but looks like he's able to build the wave up enough to get it pushing in, so he should be just fine, as Dardoch's going to go ahead and clear out these Krugs and get himself pretty close to level 6 alongside Santorin. There's been quite a lot of farming between the two junglers so far, apart from Santorin's early pressure into mid lane. So it looks like they are just going to be happy to wait for maybe their first jungle item to be done, as they are now 6 on either side.
Teleport bottom, though. This is it. This is the play.
Oh, Dardoch's going to see Santorin now, but already on they go. Solo's here, ready for the dunk, and that's the AD move back in. The flash out, though, but it's not going to be enough. No, Johnsun with the heal is actually going to be okay, because everyone else from Dig is here. And here's Lourlo with a big ulti, finds the 2-man knock-up. But no follow-up available. Phoenix getting chased by Pee-wee as well, so the fight could be back on a full-on 5v5 Kobe in the bot lane. Lourlo gets a knock-up onto Solo. That's a good playback as well from Afro. The damage is good as Phoenix is able to get it. Now the hook from Afro as the rest of Fly moving in, but Phoenix shoves them back in. PowerOfEvil, though, starting to dance through the team fight, but he's been tagged up by Dardoch. Flashing in for Dardoch. He needs to finish off the kill, and he will. But on the other side of it all, the rest of Dig starting to fall as Phoenix actually fighting out on Santorin. He is going to live somehow. And now back to the alcove he goes. Mash. He's going to try and get the counter kill, but he's not going to get it just yet. The flash in for Lourlo is going to give Phoenix the double kill, and IgNar, he can't do anything. It's Dignitas that win the party.
It was really funny because we were about to set up. The level 6s from the both bottom lanes brings the crowd control. That brings the ability to set up these fights. But the teleport was on level 5 for both Varus and Kalista. And Johnsun and Mash both end up leveling halfway through that fight, which makes it extended and it makes it more explosive than the first swipe kind of would suggest. So teleport flank from Solo. This is a classic from FlyQuest. He gets great positioning on Johnsun. You see he ults him back into the rest of the team, but Johnsun immediately flashes, and there's no follow-up after Solo gets the stun onto Johnsun. No damage that they're able to deal. Then they kite back, and now they're waiting for Mash to get level 6. Then they get the re-engage as PoE comes down. Mash focuses, trying to get these minion waves, and when Solo gets hit with the edge of this knockup, Dardoch actually takes the Q in on Lee Sin. Pretty close to getting bursted on that wall. PowerOfEvil has to flash, doesn't finish off aphromoo, which allows Dardoch to follow him on Lee Sin, landing the Q, and then Mash gets level 6 off of that kill. Using his ultimate there, dodged away by Dardoch. IgNar misses, and they're not able to get the knock-up, which means Fenix could just kite back into the alcove. Doesn't go down on the Azir, racking up those extra kills. Definitely going to be a scary thing with the Azir now. 3 kills to his name for Fenix. Meanwhile, PowerOfEvil's Kassadin didn't get any of those last hits because when he flashed in to try and finish off aphromoo, there were like maybe 10, 12 HP left on the Thresh that did not allow him to get any of the actual gold from it.
Yeah, very dramatic in the bot lane. You know, it looked like maybe a 3v3, and then before you know it, Kobe, full-on extended 5v5, where Fenix is a big winner, as you mentioned. We'll see if he can extend his lead at all. He's currently 12 CS ahead of PowerOfEvil, who is still looking to finish off that Rod of Ages, and Dardoch also got the Rift Herald in and amongst that replay.
Fenix had such a good ultimate as well. The Azir wall cut off a lot of the follow-up, and that's kind of what led to PoE being the 1v4 basically flashing in, because Azir's Fenix had cut off the rest of FlyQuest. But now Dardoch's trying to defend around mid, kicks the bear right back out, and should be able to escape no problem. 3-person roam from FlyQuest just results in summoners, ultimate trade.
Yeah, here's Afro and Johnsun though back in the mid lane. So they are going to go ahead and move on to this Mountain Drake here. And don't think FLICKR really in the neighborhood for a contest, especially with Solo staying top without his teleport. So Dignitas are going to even up the Dragons. They'll continue looking just fine here in the early stages of the game. So no early Soul Snowball. It is just, again, I think, paying attention to what else happens in these next 5 minutes or so. You know, how much further ahead can Dig get with their mid laner, or can FLICKR stabilize the game and look to find more plays once the cooldowns do come back around?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to be tracking teleport ward flanks, because Dignitas have pretty good scaling with Azir and Ornn items that will be handed out. But of course, FlyQuest are always looking towards Kassadin for PoE. Other than the Kassadin, though, a lot of the playmaking here for FlyQuest does come a bit earlier. You know, Kalista can spike on just Blade of the Ruin King, one item, trying to create plays with IgNar with the double CC ultimates there. And it's really going to be a question of, can they get those deeper wards in these flanks around to capitalize and feed more money into the Kassadin.
Dardoch going to go ahead and finish up this red buff. He does still have the Herald up for a little bit longer. Got about 30% of the duration left on the eye, so he's going to want to drop it pretty soon. There's a minute and a half to get the turret plates out of the deal as well, as Fenix just continuing to sweep away farm. PowerOfEvil is going for a pretty greedy build here, but we'll hold that thought, as good ulti there on Tamash is going to force out the cleanse. It actually almost jumps onto IgNar, but no extension on the Chain of Corruption, but just an easy little poke there for Dig to get a summoner.
I think it's going to be a pretty long game, actually, with the first 2 dragons going split here and gold remaining so even. We do have a roam up the river with the bottom lane CC, but Dardoch already sees it out.
Yeah, good hook, good Fate's Calder from Mash. Has to pull the support out of there, but the flash play in from Afro is going to keep the fight going. The box is up as well. Johnsun getting jumped, but he flashes out of there. Dig getting a little bit low, but they do take down Mash, and now going to force IgNar to flash away as well. Nice angle there for Dig. Fly just couldn't get the counter kill.
Yeah, FlyQuest trying to make a play through the river up here, though, but aphromoo just turns right on him. smells blood in the water and just runs down Mash, even with double summoners and Kalista ultimate up. aphromoo just charges him straight down through the knockup. Mash tries to flash away and he's the cleanse, but Dignitas finish him off. Johnsun and Fenix just burn right through him. Rift-Tailed activated afterwards for the tower. And Dignitas, riding the momentum off their first victory in the LCS yesterday, also take down a first tower here to open up the map.
Yeah, they're up about 1,500 gold. They've got that first tower. Fenix has got 8 stacks on his Dark Seal. Looking good there on the Azir. Certainly everything is falling into place. And Kobe, you mentioned this actually last game, I believe. We hadn't really seen much of it yet, but Johnsun is going to do us proud on hit Varus today with that Bladed Ruin King now finished.
Yeah, I mean, Volibear stacks a lot of health, so it's very effective against Volibear. And Sett going Trinity Force means that Solo is going to be looking for a bit more burst plays, more damage-oriented Sett. But definitely the other looks that it is still viable here for extra on hit. I think it's probably the best at dealing with the health stacking Volibear because it just has the ninja tabbies and then will be a bunch of HP.
And I don't know if he would have made a different choice if compositions were different. I imagine he would have, but I will say that this kind of build, I think to me, speaks more to Johnsun's general style. He's very teamfight oriented as an AD. I think he has been quite good in lane alongside Aphro especially, and they've carved out a lot more space for themselves in the early stages of games, even in this split as well for Dig. But Johnsun to me, his Ashe dancing around team fights, having good utility usage was kind of the thing that I remember when he burst onto the scene in the LCS. So for me, this more on-hit build where you can just output DPS all the time certainly speaks to how I've observed Johnsun playing the game as well. So I like it from that angle as well.
All right, can we get the split push then? It looks like Fenix gets pushed on top side and starting up the Rift Herald. Solo and Lourlo both have their teleport, so they could join to make this another one of the 5-on-5s. But it's kind of hard for FlyQuest without the extra summoners for their carries. I think Fenix right now having Flash and having so much money, and Nashor's is done for him. And just Fenix is already a powerhouse for Dig. Burns right through the objective for them. Shove the lane for himself, and then just slide back over to pick up the other half of the lane on the way back. And that'll be Herald number 2 for Dig.
Yeah, like you said, potentially a long game here. PowerOfEvil is certainly in no rush, Kobe. He went Rod of Ages and Tier, so he is double stacking up the late game Kassadin items for that massive, massive mana pool.
He has to be. He is their main hope for the late game. It's all riding on the Kassa win condition. They have to get him to level 16 for the super low cooldown on the ultimate and the extra damage. And if he's going double mana scaling items, just try to find the full synergy there to really spike towards the end of the game there. But even if you do that, you are facing a Thresh, which is kind of hard to deal with, trying to get around that peel. Kicked from Dardoch, and of course they have the beefy front line of Ornn. So PowerOfEvil is going to have to play well in addition to having the Kassa win condition.
All right, well, dragging over to Dig, so continuing to get objectives and advantages for themselves here. Still keeping the gold lead pretty small between the two sides. FlyQuest at least are only 1,000 gold behind. But Fenix is continuing to gain up in power. We'll see if he can be back in time to save this top outer tower, because PowerOfEvil is likely going to be pushing through here. Fenix, though, not going to use the TP. Will hold onto the cooldown for now, as Johnsun and Aphro just going to clean out the mid lane here, wanting to make sure this outer tower in mid stays nice and healthy.
Yeah, they're also trying to keep their vision between the lanes here, so there's no extra rotation through to quickly cut anyone off. Lourlo's keeping the bottom turret very healthy. PowerOfEvil really wants to finish off this top one, gets some local gold, but Fenix returns in time.
There's that Rift as well. Unleashed here by Dardoch in the mid lane. And that might be enough to finish off the tower. It's going to be close. It is enough. Good calculations there by Dardoch. So make it 2 towers to 0 now for Dig as they continue to open up space. Santorin, they're going to flash in there, stunning up Dardoch, but the Stormbringer is not going to be able to reach Aphro as he lanterns and flashes his jungler out to safety.
aphromoo just looks so clean this split, even though Dig had such a rough early start for themselves. We're seeing the resurgence before our eyes. Against FlyQuest here, putting up a very good fight, running straight down the mid lane now. Fenix still has 8 stacks on his Dark Seal too, so he's feeling extremely powerful. Once he's able to finish the Leandries, it becomes imperative that FlyQuest get a flank. Solo does get one.
Hit for Fly, looking for something, gets the dunk. Aphro's going to be the one pulled into the team fight, but IgNar going to have to be fates called out of there. Aphro is dead, but Dig can chase potentially. Santorin gets tagged. Dardoch, does he dare take it? He won't as the shield comes up from the Volibear W.
Yeah, kicks him out there. FlyQuest could be happy to get away without losing anyone in the exchange, as they do get the kill onto aphromoo. Lourlo pushes in one more wave, and they take away a few resources from the jungle. That's the flank that you want onto a higher value target, though. Using that flank and getting just the kill onto aphromoo is a bit more of a stalling move for FlyQuest, rather than pushing the game forward in their favor. PowerOfEvil has still yet to get a last hit on any of these kills. But that being said, he's got 7 stacks on his Rod of Ages, so 3 more minutes there. And the Seraphs now will start stacking a lot quicker.
Yeah, getting closer, at least level 13 as well. It's very important to keep track of the levels on that castle win condition. But still a little while away from the coveted level 16. As Dig will just dance back and forth. Looks like both teams going to be doing some resetting of the vision and the map, because it is time for that next dragon up in just under 2 minutes.
Dignitas. Looks like they could evolve another strat for themselves here for FlyQuest with Solo. When he's able to get Blade of the Ruin King. Oh, actually, Death's Dance he's going for the full sustain here. So Trinity Force, Death's Dance. Solo should be able to move Lourlo around a little bit easier, because he can fully sustain off the minion waves after going for those trades, even though there's a Bramble-Vis onto Lourlo. And that's what's been keeping it kind of stalled as far as the split push for FlyQuest. You know, they've got PowerOfEvil trying to push it ahead in the side lane versus Phoenix Azir, but they've had a bit of a blocker on the other side, because Ornn with the Bramble-Vis Sunfire can just kind of soak up those minion waves and even just stand at the tower if he needs to, and kind of block that split push from progressing. But once Solo does get Death's Dance, that's going to go a long ways in kind of the war of attrition for him with all the extra sustain.
Well, not done yet on the items. It's kind of only 2 items on PowerOfEvil, actually, who's getting close to stacking up the roll fully, but isn't there yet, either on the transform of his staff either. On the other side for Dig, 2 items for Varus, 2 items for this Azir, as Leandris has been finished for Phoenix, so going to be feeling pretty good about their chances in a possible 5v5 erupting around the dragon in 30 seconds. You can see Fly already down there with some of their own vision, trying to keep track of mid lane, as the mages in top lane continue to fight each other. This Phoenix now going to have to make his way down, because he does not have his teleport. Neither does PowerOfEvil, though, so might be a little late to this next engage. Ulti from IgNar, they're onto aphromoo, but no follow-up there from the Nautilus ulti.
Yeah, they had Solo earlier on the flank, but Lourlo is trailing right behind him, so I think they made the call. We're not all-inning on this. Instead, just kind of kite out that cooldown and return to the dragon. Dignitas here now set up. They've got the support ultimate advantage now, since IgNar has no ulti, but PowerOfEvil with a pretty good flank.
Good hook onto Dardoch. There's the hook though on a Solo. PowerOfEvil, though, as you mentioned, did flank around. The ulti from Phoenix, though, is going to push him through, but Sett, he's able to find that dunk. The kill, though, onto PowerOfEvil happens as he gets knocked up by Lourlo, and they shred through Solo after the dive, so that's a great hook as well. IgNar going to be left for dead here. Pops the stone plate to try and buy time for the rest of the squad, but he is just going to fall to Johnsun as Dignitas wins such a clean team fight.
What? Stunned up PoE there. Was that literally just Lourlo charging him into the wall, or was it a Thresh hook? Because there's no point and click here. Maybe it was Johnsun's corrupting chain. We have to watch the replay. PowerOfEvil has flash, so him flanking with the Kassadin, getting locked up there with flash, just brings the whole game down for this team. Kassadin is the heart. Kassadin is everything for FlyQuest, and Dignitas will take the dragon, and they're looking like they want to take the Baron too.
Yeah, Santorin's here. Phoenix, so onto Mash is going to get aggressive, but Solo's back in with the TP, and that will force Dig off the Baron. They were trying to turn to get another kill, which I think is pretty appropriate given how short the death timers are, but not enough to pick up another one. So they'll be forced off Baron. They'll be forced to reset Zorchus one again. Let's keep track of PoE, Kobe.
So he's got this good flank back around behind Johnsun, behind Fenix. The rest of the team is focused on the Dragon. Flash initiation there from IgNar. They have him on the run. Then PoE starts walking over. Is it Johnsun who hits him? Yep, corrupting chain of corruption there from Johnsun into the charge from Lourlo. Yeah, if he's unable to flash over the chain of corruption there, then he just gets annihilated. 100% to 0 on the Kassadin, and after he's dead, FlyQuest, everybody who's left behind is going to have to go down. As you know, this also put Dignitas on sole point, being their third Drake. It's just a Cloud Drake, so it's not the most impactful, especially for this team. So it's not like that's the end of the world for FlyQuest or too big of a deal. FlyQuest can still count on 2 more levels for PowerOfEvil. It is super nice for Kassadin, though, if you would have been able to get that. But it's kind of out of their reach.
Yes. Well, I imagine that we'll try and keep it out of Dig's hands, but that's not really the concern right now. It is this mid lane assault that is happening as Fenix puts up the Sun turret, and they're just looking to crack through here. Fly very late to re-rotate for this tower, so that's just going to fall. That's another space now that Dig can continue to attack. And you mentioned this, Kobe, all the way back down to that first 5v5 in the bottom lane, but watching back that replay, the thing I noticed is another excellent Azir ult from Fenix. Yes, Solo made his way through with the ulti, which is cool. Like, he managed to get through the wall and get into the backline, but he was the only one, especially with PoE, not able to complete the flank. So everyone else had just cut off with the Emperor's Divide, and Dig were able to very easily finish off that fight. As aphromoo is just magnetized to IgNar at this point. He's in the box, he doesn't have flash, he's going to go off to the wall, but Dardoch's going to tag him in the queue, and Fenix will just swoop in to finish him off.
Yeah, just what you were talking about in the fight on bottom, that's why the flank is so important. That's why the Kassadin avoiding CC, flashing is so important. But Dignitas will take the opportunity to push it straight through, inhibitor down, Baron up as well. They can retreat, and they've already got plenty of wards through the jungle leading up to Baron. So for Chain of Corruptions, Death Sentence coming out of the Fog of War now. FlyQuest do have at least the Scuttle Crab, but Santorin gets swept up.
Not the one you want to get picked off here. He's forced to flash, and Johnsun's ulti barely not going to clip the bear. There's Dardoch. Ooh, he's getting jumped on here. Now the other jungler is dead as PowerOfEvil picks up a big kill for himself.
First kill for Kassadin. Seraphs is charged, fully stacked Rod of Ages, looking at level 16. Keep your hopes alive, Pastry, for some Kassadin plays later. His flash is still off cooldown, so there's definitely more plays to be had. And FlyQuest going to take that kill on the jungler, start up the Baron, try and bait Dignitas into a bad spot.
Yeah, going to be 4v5 here in the pit. PowerOfEvil with a great looking angle here as well. Dig know they have to kind of commit here, but Fly are looking for that team fight. Already you can see IgNar is tempting fate. Good hook to lands as well. PoE though is going to be spotted by Fenix, but Fly have stayed on the Baron as well. Lourlo going to get the ulti lined up. Going to knock 2 up though, but again, I don't know if they want to fight or get the Baron. Johnsun's going to get the kill on the IgNar, but still 3 of Flyer on the Baron. Solo is getting low. The Baron is dead though as Santorin is able to pick it up, and Fenix is still alive as Johnsun gets the double. Make it 4 as Santorin's now the only one left alive, and Johnsun's able to grab that triple.
Fenix is actually nuts. He has Kassadin right behind him, flanking him. He walls away Solo, then slides towards Solo away from the Kassadin, flashes out, doesn't die. Dignitas, they're going to just win off of that.
Oh, that's the Chain of Corruption. Santorin going to get out of there, but he's still dead. That's the ace for Johnsun. He gets the delayed quadra kill, and that is going to be another Nexus captured by Dig. 2-0 on the weekend, Kobe, as they fulfill the Bud Light ace. And FlyQuest, another upset loss here as Dignitas are able to take them down.
Dignitas with the Renaissance halfway through the Summer Split. They sub in Lourlo, then Dardoch, then Fenix, and they pull out a 2-0 week. Coming from the 0-8 team here in the LCS, and against strong opponents as well in FlyQuest, that FlyQuest tumbling down the standings now with 2 unexpected losses. 100 Thieves and now Dignitas themselves. That is definitely going to tank their stocks.
Yeah, again, like the fight for second place is no longer something that FlyQuest are currently engaged with. I certainly believe they can make their way back there, but for now, something is going on as the teams are starting to pick things up. And Dig, I think for me, the thing I'm most impressed by is like this isn't just like one or two people, you know, going really above and beyond it again. This is a full team effort. Like, we've talked about how well Johnsun and aphromoo have been playing together as a duo, and now that they've kind of, I guess, decided on a 5-man roster, and you're starting to see the rest of the pieces come in, like, everyone on Dig is doing work in order to get them over the line against these tough opponents. And picking up FlyQuest is no mean feat, given how good they looked in the early stages of the season.
And I'm definitely feeling the Drake meme for Fenix with Fenix TF. No, Fenix Azir. That's what you need.
All right, well, we'll get a little bit more about that, but the Tigers are standing right now to hear from the victorious top laner, so let's send it away.
Thank you, Pastry. Appreciate it. I got to get some words from Lourlo. We're talking about the fact that Dig has made these changes over the past few weeks. You're the first one to come in on this roster before the additional changes. So just walk me through it. What has this experience been like for you?
Honestly, it's just been one hell of a grind. I think the systems we had in place needed a lot of adjusting. I feel like we put in so much effort recently towards that. Like, these past couple of weeks have been really hard in terms of just like finding what's right for us, and I feel like it's all coming together, and it's been just nice to be able to show some results finally. So yeah, I'm just proud of that.
And speaking of it all coming together, I want to get some more thoughts on that. But before we do, looking at this game in particular, we were expecting it to be quite a long game, but it came through in the end with a single fight. So just walk us through what was happening in those final moments for Dig to secure the second win of the week.
Yeah, I think overall, since they had Kassadin, they were in a spot where they had to just wait for the level 16 spike, especially since how the early game panned out for them, us getting like a sizable gold lead. So we just took favorable fights, ended up them having like a Dig Baron throw. It wasn't us, it was them, and then we just won off that, so it was nice.
Yeah, it felt like in moments where the game could have elongated itself, individual players on Dignitas were attempting to make those plays and get those picks. So when it comes to the identity of Dignitas and the play style, it feels like there's some aggression in some cases. Where do you feel you are as a team and what you're kind of going for on the Rift?
Yeah, I think all 5 of us have a pretty aggressive mindset. I feel like it's been like our main focus recently just been finding like the right communication, because I feel like we had a lot of differences just between all of us in terms of like how we want to play the game at the start, and just like bringing it all together and really understanding each other's perspectives and making sure we want to play the game in the right way rather than just having so many different ideas. And it's been a slow process, but finally it's a process that we can be proud of, especially after this week.
Part of that process, as you're saying, is getting everyone on the same page and going into the split. Dardoch had actually cited one of the most exciting things for him was getting a chance to play with you again. Having that synergy with somebody that you're close with as a friend is one component. How does that contribute to overall the team kind of getting on the same page, especially when you're switching rosters like this?
Yeah, I think it is nice being able to play with familiar faces, especially not only Josh, but also Fenix. I think we've had a lot of synergy in the past, so it's been easier to build that again. It's just the process, like I said, just finding what's right, especially in different metas. Like, it's been about 4 years since we did play with each other, so there's a lot of gelling and just like fine tuning to do from when we did play on TL. And I think we've made really good strides towards that, and just keeping it on the up and up, and just keep pushing.
A 2-0 week is always something to be excited about, but we can't deny the fact that a 2-0 week after scrambling to try and get those wins for so long means something even more. What do you have to say about what we can expect from Dignitas here on out? Was this just a coincidence? I mean, you went against some pretty tough opponents, including FlyQuest.
I don't think it's coincidence. I think it's our hard work paying off. I feel like we've all been grinding and putting in the effort. I think being 0-8 does suck, but none of us gave up, like, even in a moment. So I think it's respectable. I'm proud of every single one of my teammates, including myself and the coaching staff and just everyone here at Dig, because we all still believed that we had the talent to push through, and this will just give us a lot more motivation for the rest of the split. So I'm looking forward to it.
I dig it, Lourlo. It's never a coincidence. It comes down to the hard work. And as always, we love to see it on the Rift. Thanks for talking to me here today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
With everything that went on today, I know there is plenty to break down. So in addition to the 2 a week from Dignitas, let's send it over to the State Farm analyst desk to cover everything that we just witnessed.
Knows how to build unlimited right. You start with America's most awarded network, the one with unbeatable reliability 13 times in a row.
This network is one less thing I have to worry about.
Then you give people more plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need.
Verizon Unlimited plan is so reasonable, they could stay on for the rest of their lives.
You include the best in entertainment, and you offer it all starting at $35, because everyone deserves the best. This is Unlimited built right, only on Verizon.
Welcome back to the LCS Dome, powered by Alienware, where Dignitas came into the weekend winless in last place at 0-8 and come out of the weekend with 2 back-to-back wins. A phenomenal way for them to turn around the split and start that acceleration into the second half.
I'm going to say it here now. This Dignitas team could probably be every team except Cloud9. It's so close.
Whoa.
That, yeah, for sure. Why not? Yeah.
All right. I'm loving the fire.
What do you mean, why not? They only got 2 wins, buddy.
Yeah, but look at how clean they were and against the opponents. Okay, maybe not Immortals, but against FlyQuest.
I was going to say, like, I mean, not like the rest of North America is pub stomping everyone here, and Dignitas has actually been pretty clean in their wins.
Yeah.
Like, the Ignite Graves was them asserting themselves all over their opponent. This game as well, they had a bunch of scaling and were still winning early skirmishes against the enemy team. So, like, when you can take Ornn and Azir and crush fights at 5 minutes, like, yeah, you're going to be in a great position to win the game. And FlyQuest is supposed to be good. I mean, maybe we'll get to that, but for now, it looks very impressive.
I mean, I think Dig did really great. I think the way that they're playing right now makes me really, really happy in terms of it's just destroying my life and predictions. So kudos to them. I'm pretty salty about them just wrecking everything.
Y'all are getting me even more excited. I was already excited at seeing them go 2-0, but that statement, Crumbs, the idea that this is a team that could work their way up,
I had them in
some of the top dogs by the end of the split, really excites me. Sorry?
I had them in the predictions beating FlyQuest here. After seeing the preparation from yesterday.
We didn't run them. That didn't happen.
We didn't run them, but I can show you
replay.
the proof, all right? The record will show that
statistically it will be shown. It will be shown. Okay, let's get into some of how Dignitas crafted this victory, because it didn't start so great for them with Fenix dying in the mid lane, but this bot lane 5v5 starts to turn it all around.
Yeah, this is a huge turnaround fight for FlyQuest when they were getting the TP flank on them, but they were able to kite this out super well and then re-engage. And the thing that they did was they were constantly able to kite back and chase forward at the right moment. So here, when they want to turn with the Kassadin collapsing, they're able to get behind their minions again. IgNar's hook hits the wrong target, and then they're going back into solo out, or excuse me, go on to solo. And then they start kiting back again. Once they get that kill, they land the hook onto the Kassadin. He hops the wall, which is nice, but a very smart decision by Aphro to hop into the bush and break vision. They had a pink ward there to know that it wasn't warded, which makes it take even longer for PoE to kill him so that they can get the return kill. And then they just continue to out-execute. You see Azir running around in circles, giving Santorin a target while the other people chase left. And their ability to split up whenever FlyQuest was trying to go in was really impressive.
What really surprised me is that why FlyQuest wants to opt into these fights continually. You've got a Kassadin, he got the kill, he was going to be able to be uncontested in the side lanes. I don't think it was necessary for them to do so. So it's a mistake that they're making in the early game. That is what was exploited out of them. And I like that Dignitas was able to mechanically fight their way out of a game. That's a really positive sign for a team that was dead last, that we thought, okay, what else do they have? Because we only thought it was Aphro and Johnsun, who are still performing at the level when they didn't have those wins. And they were really good, especially Aphro today.
Yeah, that fight definitely a little disjointed, but it kind of shows Dignitas' willingness to be reactionary and still commit to the play. I want to roll us forward, though, to one that's a little bit more lopsided in their favor, one that they took entirely on their own. 3-0 around the Dragon, 22 minutes in.
Yeah, this is a really impressive fight by Dignitas for starting this, because FlyQuest had a good flank position, but the way Dig plays, they get the Azir ult early, and they actually all run through it, so they basically cut off the flank and are able to attack it. So there you see Kassadin being in a good position, but since since Dignitas was so good at collapsing, they actually turned it. And right before this fight off screen, Varus actually ulted Kalista just to take her cleanse. So she went into the fight with only flash, and such a short range AD carry, it's really easy to punish, and Aphro did a good job of flashing in there.
Two things about that fight that really hurt FlyQuest. They tried to look for a pick earlier with the Nautilus ultimate, just a crazy pick that now they didn't have it for that fight. And then when the Kassadin goes to flank against the Varus, not respecting the fact that that ultimate was going to be back up despite burning the cleanse earlier, immediately kills the Kassadin. Lourlo does a really good job in staggering his CC and knocking him up. PoE didn't get a single spell off. He might have gotten one Q. The fact that they were so aware that they were getting flanked and collapsed perfectly, I think is a really good sign of communication in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah, Dignitas is exciting a lot of people with the way they showed up this week. Love to hear that interview with Lourlo where he cites, no, we're putting in the effort. He's gonna take the credit for that. We are putting in the work to get better as a squad, and they're looking to challenge some of the top people. No, probably you kind of called out already that Dignitas winning this game, while it's awesome to see for the state of the league, is not so awesome for the state of your portfolio. Might be filing for bankruptcy at the end of this week, my friend.
Yeah, does anyone want this watch? I mean, I got a nice computer I'm using. This headset's like, I don't know how much it's worth. You tell me. I'm selling it for cheap.
I mean, a drastic fall here, Mark.
I'm so disappointed. I went out on a limb. I was trying to hype them up, saying their top side was great, you know, jungle, mid, all this, and they've just completely fallen flat on their face the last 2 weeks. And I'm so over this team after putting a little bit of myself out there, putting a little trust in them. When we were talking about who's going to be second place team, they threw it back in my face, and I'm over it.
Listen, we're only over it because we had such high expectations. You got to get rid of those expectations. There is no second place team. Maybe it's TSM, but really it's finally up for grabs. The teams that made the roster changes are actually cranking up to be decent contenders in the back half, or at the very least dark horses towards a playoff race. So I just think that now it's getting an even tighter race, and it's more exciting than ever, the fact that you've got these teams that can legitimately start pushing forward and knocking down some of these pretenders of second place.
Well, you talk about the jostling that's going on in the standing. Let's pull them up to see where everyone stands here, closing out the first round robin of the summer split. We got Cloud9 wrapping it up at 9-0, looking for that 18-0 that they couldn't make happen in spring. We got Team Liquid alone in second at 7-2, but everyone's pointing at TSM in third, 6-3, as the actual second best team. I'm excited for the next time those two teams clash to really be the decider. As for the rest of the teams, we're going to trickle down behind them. Immortals now in last at 1-8 with a surprise Dignitas 2-0 weekend up to 2-8. For those of you lamenting the days end, don't worry. The LCS is back tomorrow with TSM facing Immortals in Game 1. We got Golden Guardians facing Team Liquid before CLG challenges EG to close out the weekend of games. Anything in particular you guys want to put a spotlight on in tomorrow's games?
Golden Guardians Team Liquid, they were clean today against EG. I really liked what Closer was doing on the Lee Sin. Finally, we're getting to see Lee Sin and what he's really capable of. Tons of kills on him, and against a slower paced Team Liquid, this is the kind of champion that can just continually fight, and you will have no answers for him. So that's a matchup I want to see. Or maybe he just gets banned, and then we're sad because it's Volibear versus Trundle.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Maybe Volibear just gets banned out. But we've seen some more experimentation. I love that Shen pick today from Impact. Love more people picking up the Wukong. Want to see more of it throughout the LCS. And that's going to do it for us here, though, today on this Saturday. So now on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you later for more LCS. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.